Hello and welcome to the Excel training sessions by IndieTest. In this session, we're going to learn about how to save up a workbook in Excel. Now, every now and then a time would come when you have finished editing your workbook and you want it to be placed on your drive in your system safely and securely. Now, how to achieve that? Now, Excel provides you three popular ways of achieving the same depending whether you have opened up a completely new workbook or whether you are trying to save an already saved workbook. Now, let me just explain this thing in entirety. In this example, I have a completely new workbook which I have started editing from scratch. Now to save it, one of the best ways of saving this workbook is using the Control S option in Excel. By Control S, I mean that you press the Control button and the S button on your keyboard at the same time. I'm going to press them now. You're going to see that this is the kind of a dialog box that appears eventually, and it asks me to save my workbook in the currently selected C drive and with the given file name. Now I can edit this file name as I may want to, and I change this to sample. So sample is my name of the workbook which I want to save over here. Now when I will press the save button, it will save my workbook onto the C drive, and we can verify that by going onto the C drive and seeing whether our file lies over there or not. Now I'm going to my C drive. Yes, there it is. So the sample workbook has appeared in C drive, and you can see that it's over here. Now let's explore other ways of doing the same in Excel. This is my new workbook. I just created up a sample of this to show you that what are the other different ways of doing saving up a workbook in Excel. Let's type in something and try to save this file. And these are the two entries in my Excel file, and I want to save it. Now we have already learned that saving up a workbook is a piece of cake using the Control S option. But what are the other ways in which we can do the same? Now the other way is that looking at this floppy button which is located at the top of this Excel environment. Now clicking on this button gives up the same dialog box that popped up when we used the Control S option beforehand. Now the thing remains the same. Type in the name of the file that you want over here and just select the location you want it to be stored at, and there you go. It'll save it in that location. Now the third and the most obvious and the popular way of saving up a workbook in Excel is you go to the file button located over here and then click this save button over here. Now, this will again produce the same pop-up that we have seen before in the previous two discussed strategies. And again you can put in your name and the location where you want to save up your file. Now these are three ways of saving up a workbook in Excel when they are edited from the scratch. But as I said in the beginning, that the behavior of saving up a workbook changes whether you have started editing a workbook from scratch or whether you are trying to save an already saved workbook. Now what do I mean by that? We have already tried to save those workbooks which have been edited from scratch. Let's try to use the same three strategies, the same three ways of saving up a workbook which has already been saved. Now I close this thing and I move to our original workbook which was saved by the name of sample in the C drive as we discussed in the previous session. Now if I were to go on to this floppy button now and were to press it, no pop-up box appears. But at the back end this file has been saved. The only difference is that this file has been saved with the same name of sample at the same place it was saved before in the C drive, but the older file was replaced with this version of the new file. Now let's just try putting anything else over here like now this is a new entry that I made in the same Excel file sample.xlxs. Now when I will press this save button over here, what it'll do is it'll overwrite the previous file with the new version of this file, and we may go on to the C drive and open this file again, and it will give us the new entry of David Fuller at the place A7 in this workbook. Now this is a same replicate. This behavior is replicated again if I were to use other ways of saving up a file. Now I go to the file button, press the save button over here. Again no pop-up, but the file has been overwritten with this new version of this file. I go ahead and press the Control and the S buttons together. Again no pop-up, but the files have been saved at the back end. Now this is what happens when you try to save an already saved file. it overwrites the previous version of the file with the newer ones. And like we discussed before, if you hit the floppy button or the controllers button or go to the file button and hit the save button for a completely new workbook which you started editing from scratch, the dialog box will open and will give you the appropriate options to save the workbook. Now, as was in the outline of this session, we have discussed the save button, but what exactly is the save as button? How is its functionality differing from save? Now, as the name goes, it must have something relating to the save button itself, but it differs in functionality a bit different wise. Say, for example, in this we have the sample workbook opened over here, but you simply want to save another version of this file by a different name. So in that case, you can't hit the save button, because you know that by hitting the save button already it will overwrite the file. So you go onto the file button over here, put the save as button, and now you will have again a different dialog box appearing over here which will ask you to save this file in the appropriate location which you want. So again, I would want to save this file in the C drive but with a different name now, say sample version 2. So I go on and press the save button. Now you have in C drive, as per expectation, there would be two files, one by the name of sample and the other by the name of sample v2. Now let's go and check it out. So there we go. So you can see that there are two files in the C drive, one by the name of sample and another by the name of sample v2, and this is as per our expectations. So the basic difference between save button and the save as button is save would overwrite the previous version of the files, and save as would open up a new dialog box for opening up for saving up the file which you are editing. This is the difference, complete difference between the two. Thank you for watching.